You said that a judge has to be mature, he has to be wise, and therefore, shall I come to the conclusion and ask you again that has Justice Chandrachud been unwise and has been immature by making a statement like this?
I would say not wise and not mature. I would think, even though I'm not used to using harsh words and things, but it's almost so dramatic and so filmy, that a judge should say this kind of a thing, and it's almost laughable. He's, somehow or the other, I would think that even though he's talking of God being his guide, the whole level of, our judge has been brought down. But I mean, like to say this that it is God who authored this judgment or who gave him light. I don't think it is very healthy. You're supposed to decide cases on the facts of the case, on the principles of law. Where does God come in the picture? But Neelu, what I'm thinking now is that if Justice Chandrachud was looking for God to write that judgment or to author that judgment, what about the other four judges? Who were they looking to? They were all, it was a unanimous judgment. We must remember this. So what was their, understanding of the judgment? Did they also decide because, there was some kind of a light flashed on the Chief Justice who had authored the judgment, and therefore, they followed suit, that the Ayodhya judgment was decided in favor of the majority. Now the point is, when Justice Chandrachud brings in God, it means that the majority is supported by God, and therefore the other side is something which has to be left out. Is that the role of a judgment of a judge, and especially when he's delivered a judgment? I understand this, Neelu, but just flip the side and suppose if it was a judge from another faith who had done it, who had said it, what do you think would have been the reaction? Tell me. You should, counter question and ask. Suppose, if a person of another faith had said the same thing, would they support or would they, endorse that view?
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. There's one question which everyone is asking, and that is, what has happened to the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud? Now, of late, what is the kind of statement he has made? And I want to talk to you in reference to what he has said at his own paternal village. Now, he was addressing a gathering where he said that the Ayodhya Babri Masjid dispute was a case which was very difficult to adjudicate, and he had to pray to God to find a solution. And I'm going to quote exactly what he has said. He has said, very often we have cases, but we don't arrive at a solution. Something similar happened during the Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi-Babri Masjid dispute, which was before me for 3 months. I sat before the deity and told him he needed to find a solution. Now, this is what Chief Justice of India has said, and everyone is surprised as to whether at all a judge should be wearing the religious sleeve. And of late, you've seen that he did a Ganesh Aarti along with the Prime Minister. Then, off and on, he's been making comments by which people have started speculating that is he trying to please the powers that be? And many people in the legal circles have started saying that apparently he bears political ambitions, and this is why he started wearing the religious sleeve. Now we'll try and analyze as to what can we make of this comment coming from Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. And apart from that, just on Saturday, he said, and if I may quote him, he very clearly said that the Supreme Court does not mean that it has to fulfill the role of an opposition in parliament. And he said this, that he said one is entitled to criticize the court for the consistency of the legal doctrine or an error, but one cannot look at its role or its work from the perspective of outcomes. So we'll try and analyze all these statements of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. Joining me now is former Patna High Court Judge, Justice Anjana Prakash. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining on HW News. It's wonderful to have you again on the program. And Justice D.Y. Chandrachud saying that for a difficult verdict like Babri Masjid, he had to seek God's help. Now, there are all sorts of reactions. People are commenting in different ways and they are trying to estimate and arrive at a conclusion at whatever he has said. As a judge, how would you look at the statement coming from Justice D.Y. Chandrachud?
Actually, before I start, I must tell the listeners as to what exactly the oath which is administered to every judge when he starts, his office. It says, bear, I am, in the name of God or the Constitution or whoever, I promise to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and that I will faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter. So, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established. So, in every case, as we know, there are some facts which are involved, and there are certain principles of law which are involved. Now, the principles of law could be something which has already been enunciated, or you could dive into it, or delve into it, and then, you interpret it. But it always has to adhere to the constitutional provisions. It's nothing else. So, it is, I would think, even though, I'm not used to using harsh words and things, but it's almost so dramatic and so filmy, that a judge should say this kind of a thing. And it's almost laughable. He's, somehow or the other, I would think that even though he's talking of God being his guide, the whole level of, our judge has been brought down. I would think, that no doubt, we're all human beings, including judges. We have all, fallacies, which are usual in a normal human being. But, to pin it on to God, and then say, that this was because what God had said. So good, bad, indifferent, whatever, instead of taking the responsibility yourself, you palm it off to some unnamed God. Whether or not you can do it, I would think that it should not have been done. But if you look at the way, things have been happening, the whole Ayodhya judgment or the reportage that went along, you will find, a very objectionable thing that used to happen. And that was, the arguments would be, the Hindu side argument was this, the Muslim side argument was this. Instead of saying, there were several bodies which had come to the Supreme Court and the High Court, etc., instead of saying, the submissions on behalf of this body is this or that body is that, they have, segregated it into two parts and said Hindu and Muslim. So, when you say that already in your judgment about Hindu and Muslim, somehow or the other, I feel that you are also taking part or subjecting yourself, to creating an otherness which should not have been done.
Right.
Now, as we all know, this Ayodhya judgment, a lot of people used to keep guessing as to who had authored the judgment. Usually, in the practice of any judgment is this, when you deliver a judgment, the author pins his name. And thereafter, the rest of the judges say, I agree, I agree, I agree. Strangely enough, in the Ayodhya judgment, nobody has claimed authorship of it. In fact, for some reason, Ranjan Gogoi, I think he had said at one point in time that we had decided unanimously that it would remain anonymous. Why anonymous? I don't understand this. But now by Justice Chandrachud having said this, they know that he went to God for light and all that. I think, he's let the cat out of the bag by admitting that he is the one who had authored it. So something that we always suspected has been
Hmm.
proved by him, has been admitted by him. So this is
Right.
one thing. But Neelu, if you recall, there was one kind of a controversy earlier also. There was a Chief Justice, I think in the 80s. He, much after his retirement and all that, he had said, that whenever I had to decide a very ticklish matter, I wouldn't, I would go in deep thought and all. But Sai Baba used to author the judgments. I don't know whether you've heard of it or am I, dreaming.
No, no,
This really,
yes.
I mean, like, but the only thing that I am thankful about is that our judiciary is not a monolith. So, whatever this Chief Justice of India, the present Chief of India is saying, does not necessarily percolate, the same thoughts do not come down, to the rest of the judges. That is
No, but
one happening thing.
right. No, but what I want to understand from you, and you've made the right points, that one cannot quote God always, one cannot wear the sleeve of religion. But what do you think is Justice Chandrachud gaining by saying this? Is he trying to develop some kind of a proximity with the RSS? Is he trying to gain some kind of a proximity with the BJP? And is he trying to give more primacy to the non biological or the supreme powers rather than giving primacy to the constitution?
Hey, it is unfortunate. What his intent is, only his retirement, there the days after his retirement will show what was his true intent. But I will like to say this, that it is God who authored this judgment or who gave him light. I don't think it is very healthy. You're supposed to decide cases on the facts of the case, on the principles of law. Where does God come in the picture? And then every person has a separate God. That also must be kept in mind. Like that, the other judge, he had said Sai Baba. So somebody else will say some other thing, they'll all say. But Neelu, what I'm thinking now is that if Justice Chandrachud was looking for God to write that judgment or to author that judgment, what about the other four judges? Who were they looking to?
Hmm.
They were all,
Right.
it was a unanimous judgment. We must remember this. So
Hmm.
what was their, understanding of the judgment? Did they also decide because, there was some kind of a light flashed on the Chief Justice who had authored the judgment, and therefore, they followed suit? Or is it because they believed, that is the correct way of deciding the matter? So this is also something which is rankling in my mind.
No, but what is the kind of legacy which Justice Chandrachud is leaving behind by giving, off the cuff remarks like this? And in the legal circles, people are actually making fun of a comment like this. And as you
Yes,
said
exactly.
initially, that it's laughable. So, what is the
Uh,
kind of legacy he will leave behind after making a statement like this?
Thankfully, people come and go, and most people don't leave a legacy. Let me tell you, Neelu, no matter how high the position, most people don't leave any legacy. It's the general people, who are the ordinary people and the regular people. Actually, they form the bulk of the legacy, and that is what has substantiated our society and has kept it intact. That's the only thing that I can say. He leaves no legacy. Just because he's the Chief Justice of India doesn't mean that he leaves a legacy. He does not leave a legacy.
Right. No, but Justice Prakash, the most unfortunate part is that since the time he's made this statement, a lot of right-wing trolling system has been, whenever we discuss, like for example, I was on a Hindi show in the morning and we discussed the same topic, and there, I was being trolled by the right-wing Hindi groups saying that, why on earth are you people talking like this? He has only sought the help of God. You all are brainless. You don't know in which direction you all are going. You are committing a pap, as in you are committing a sin by talking like this. This is the manner
See,
in which I was told in the morning when I was doing a
Neil,
show in.
I understand this, Neelu, but just flip the side and suppose, if it was a judge from another faith who had done it, who had said it, what do you think would have been the reaction? Tell me.
Absolutely.
You should, counter question and ask. Suppose, if a person of another faith had said the same thing, would they support or would they, endorse that view? Or would
Hmm.
would they be critical of it?
True.
That's the question, whether you are the same to everyone, irrespective of the faith. So, what are you trying to assert? At the end of it, the Ayodhya, everyone knows that the Ayodhya judgment was decided in favor of the majority. Now, the point is when Justice Chandrachud brings it God, it means, that the majority is supported by God, and therefore the other side is something which has to be left out. Is that the role of a judgment of a judge? And especially when he's delivered a judgment, should he be saying that? It's very, very unfortunate, Neelu. I mean, like, I'm much older than Justice Chandrachud, so I feel, like, where have we gone? What's happening?
But Justice Anjana Prakash, do you feel let down when you see your own Chief Justice of India talking in this manner, and do you think that he has violated the oath which he has taken, against the Constitution?
Terribly. I feel very disappointed. I feel, that very let down by this kind of a statement. And especially him, see, there are so many. I am against the concept or the practice of Indians to make people into superheroes. If somebody is, if comes first, etc., or tops the list and all, it suddenly becomes, a god unto himself. Similarly, the fact, that Justice Chandrachud was the son of another judge, and then he was, he went up, he studied somewhere outside, and then, he did very well academically, etc. People started making him into some kind of a hero, which, maybe he does not, but these statements show that contrary to the image that has been created, things are not, things are not as they are projected.
No, but
And just
Justice
because
Anjana
you've
Prakash,
been very good in studies doesn't mean, because at the end of it, what is it that matters? Maturity and wisdom. I would think, a judge must be mature and he must be wise. So
and I'll
these
just interrupt
statements
you for
are
2 seconds.
contrary.
I'll just interrupt you for 2 seconds. You said that a judge has to be mature, he has to be wise, and
Uh,
therefore, shall I come
hmm,
to the conclusion and ask you again that
hmm.
has Justice Chandrachud been unwise and has been immature by making a statement like this?
I would say not wise and not mature. Okay, there is a mid path when you're not completely immature, not unwise, but you're not wise and you're not mature. And I think, that's the status, that's the way I would assess it. His statements,
No, but
by
looking
virtue of
at
his statement. I'm sorry.
But Justice Prakash, looking at the sagacity and the wisdom of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, I'm sure he knows what he's saying, what he is, to whom he's addressing. And when he makes statements like these, and for that matter, when he did the Ganesh Arti, he very well knew what the repercussion would be. And now again, saying a statement like this, that, for a verdict like Babri Masjid, he sought God's help. I'm sure he would have known that what would be the repercussions of a statement like this. Why did he
Nilu,
do it?
Nilu, again, you're falling into the same trap as the others are falling. How do you think, that it is a maturity, that he's a mature man or he's a sagacious man? How do you say this?
Hmm.
I mean, like, we are making things out. We are creating images which are not really, true. They are false up to a point. What are these images that we are creating? Just by virtue of his position, he is mature or he's sagacious or he's wise, etc. And you can't, these are not given. These are things which are proved by a daily routine, by a daily, whatever functions that you do. So that's how, you're tested. You're not tested in one judgment saying, or an exam paper that you've topped the list and therefore, you are very wise and you're very intelligent. Intelligence is one thing, then, but being sagacious and being responsible to a position is another thing.
So, which means that Justice Chandrachud has not been responsible towards the
I would
Supreme.
think he's not been responsible to the position. He's not been responsible. I mean, like,
So, No, but if he's not responsible, and then you put the join the dots together that he has to retire the next month, sometimes in the second week of November, why is he making irresponsible statements like these? Is he trying to please the powers, if I may ask you very candidly? Is he trying to develop some sort of a proximity with the RSS? People have already started saying all this, that, he has political ambitions and he wants to go much way ahead than what Ranjan Gogoi did.
That's what people's speculation is there and perception is, Neelu. Fact of the matter is that everybody thinks that he is far more ambitious, and therefore he's saying this. But I think the whole thing is so saddening. I mean, like, what is more for a person to achieve than being, the youngest judge, than being the youngest chief justice, than being a chief justice of India for so long, and the youngest one, I guess, after this, what? I mean, how much can you achieve? Is it not being, is it not giving some kind of a message to the people that you should try and be an overachiever? These are all signs of insecurity.
Hmm. So you're saying that Justice Chandrachud, for now, at least at the moment, he looks very, very insecure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And therefore, this question, I don't know how history is going to judge me. I mean, like, why should he be bothered about why? Your work speaks for yourself, and that's all that we know. We didn't look back. We didn't think, what the judge, what the lawyers or the litigants, etc., were saying about us. If we are correct, and if our conscience is clear, you don't need any validation. You don't need any validation.
Absolutely. But of late, there are few steps which he's taken. Say, for example, he's changed the the look of the statue of justice. Now the blindfold has been removed. The sword is there, but then, on the other hand, there is a constitution which has figured now. What do you think has been achieved by removing the blindfold? Though they are saying that, we are trying to wipe away the colonial memories, and we've changed the statue. Now she looks like a goddess. What do you have to say as a judge when you see the statue of justice being changed?
Don't
How
you
would you feel?
don't you think don't you think the position that he has taken at two different points, one by saying that the judgment of Ayodhya, he looked to God, and on the other side he says that where justice is concerned, constitution is supreme and sacred. Aren't these two contradictory things that are being said?
Right.
Completely contradictory. And it's evidently contradictory. You can't even support and say, no, this is for this reason or that is for this reason. Obviously it's not true. I mean, like, it's not correct.
But is Justice Chandrachud making things very, very evident? I mean, there are some. I mean, there are times when the judges do whatever they want. I mean, they do it discreetly. But here he's making things so visible. Whether it is the Ganesh Aarti, whether it is now a statement saying that I sought God's help in the Babri Masjid verdict, is he trying to make this into a pattern so that the other younger judges also learn from him? I mean, I'm just wondering what is the kind of lesson which he leaves behind for the other judges, for the younger lot.
Nobody is going to learn all these lessons, let me tell you, Neelu, unless they think, similarly. They will not, take
No,
lessons
but
from
if it is
him.
giving you political dividends, if it is giving you political and rich dividends, why wouldn't the judges do? There are examples of so many who've quit their judiciary and they have joined BJP and RSS.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. So, I mean, like, it is up to them, but he does not set an example. The ours, after all, what are the judges? The judges are also, they are coming from the same society as we are. We are presently. So there are lots and lots of people who think, as you said in the morning, you did a show and you were trolled saying, "Paap hai, aur ye hai, wo hai," and all that. So it's, this is the mindset. If that's the mindset, this is the natural outcome of a mindset.
No, but coming back to the statue of justice, do you think that the justice will be better delivered after changing the statue?
Oh God, this is another joke. This is another joke. Come on. You know what, Neelu? When we were practicing, I won't take names. There was one judge in Patna High Court who was corrupt. Okay, but he was blatantly so. And he would sit in the court. A brilliant man. Okay, and he had no pretensions to honesty. And we all used to love him, because he was so honest. You see, that is one quality. So instead of saying something and doing something else, please be honest. Please be honest to yourself, and please be honest to the others as well. Who are you trying to fool? I mean, like, I really feel insulted, that they think we are so intellectually challenged that we can't see through all this. Come on. Who are you trying to fool?
No, but what have they achieved by changing the Statue of Justice? Is he trying to serve another agenda, which is of the RSS and the BJP? Is he trying to fulfill that? Because now the lady looks like a goddess, and I don't know how to describe it. I mean, like,
Even it is grotesque, to say the least. It doesn't look like a goddess, and as we imagine a goddess. It's the figure that there is. Oh God, it's the ugliest thing that you can see. Whoever being the artist, I don't know. It doesn't suit my aesthetic sense.
okay, now coming to another point, which was made by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, and which was of latest this Saturday only. And he said that the role of the Supreme Court as a people's court must be preserved for the future. But it does not mean that it has to fulfill the role of an opposition in parliament. Now, ma'am, I'm really at pains to understand the statement which he made. So I thought that the best is to, make you speak and what you
See,
feel at this statement. Yes.
see, there are, it's a very complex thing. What do you mean by a people's court? People's court is not something when one person says hang him and the other person says okay, don't hang him, and that's the end of the court. It's not like that. It's a very complex system, and therefore there are lots of complex questions from it. Now when you say it's a people's court, meaning even a common person can come to the court and ask for justice. Whether or not justice is going to be delivered is up to the judge concerned. And we have seen day in and day out, Neelu, that no matter how much these judges may say on public platforms about personal liberty, etc., etc., but the very same judges sitting in the court do not, adhere to those principles. Let me tell you this, So where is, the cause of justice? Where is the common man's justice? We have seen people whose cases have been fast tracked for reasons of their position or importance according to the government. So, on the one hand, you say it's people's court. On the other side, you give primacy to people who hold some position or
Right.
are shielded or spearheaded by the government. Can you say then that it's a people's court? What do you mean by a people's court?
But I was talking to a few lawyers in the morning. One of them came for my show, and the other ones, tried to refrain, and they were not very forthcoming on this issue. That okay, I don't want to participate. But the point was that there was a general consensus that something has happened to Justice Chandrachud just before the retirement. What do you think has really happened? And people also said that now he belongs to those Saturday club judges, where Monday to Friday, what he does in the court doesn't figure in the news. But as soon as he makes some statements which are out of the court, those become the big headlines. Like this Saturday, he made this comment on the People's Court. Then again, he says that for the Babri Masjid verdict, he sought God's help. So he belongs to that Saturday, Sunday club of judges.
People, judges, as a rule, I think, quite a few judges really like that kind of focus upon themselves. I'm sorry to say this, but I mean, like, how much energy do they have? Friday till Friday afternoon, they are working. After that Saturday, they're zipping off here and there. I mean, like, come on, where's your family? Where are the rest of the commitments that you should be doing, to the society, or even to your, to your dear and near ones? Where is it? But a lot of people like that kind of focus. They like to give lectures and this and that, and it may be a total mismatch to their actual thinking. But that's what people like to please people again, and something which everyone will like and digest. People like to say those things, which are happily worded, which are happily accepted. which does not raise any questions. The kind of questions that you are asking, and you answered the same. My observation also, that not very many people are unhappy with this. Most people are very happy with this. So you see, people start.
No, but in case of Justice Chandrachud, do you think that he loves to remain in the headlines and for those kind of statements, which apparently the powers that be will love to listen to? That okay, look
See,
here, he sounds like a pliant judge.
no. I wouldn't say a pliant judge, but by virtue of being the Chief Justice of India, obviously he has a lot of, visibility. And people do like to call him, and since he talks well, etc., etc. And because of his erudition, I guess, people do like to listen to him. So I wouldn't say that it's because he's pliable, or, because he's pliable, therefore people call him or like to listen to him. I don't think it's like that. But generally, some people like publicity. Maybe he's one of them. I don't know. And how he was before, I don't know. It's only
But,
now when he's in the Supreme Court that we know what he is.
right. So
And
my
I
final
don't know
question.
him personally, so we really can't say, on the personal front how he is.
So my
Whether he
final
is the over ambitious type, the over publicity type, we don't know.
But so my final two questions that by making a statement on Babri Masjid verdict that he sought God's help, has he violated the constitutional oath of the judges? And is he trying to develop proximity with the powers, with the power circle?
First question, yes, he's violated the oath, because you're supposed to decide according to the constitutional provisions and nothing else. Secondly, whether he's aspiring for something from the the present dispensation, I'm unable to say right now. It can be a speculation, which can only be proved, after his retirement, which is
Right.
unfortunate. I mean, how would how can anyone be so ambitious? I don't understand. I don't understand this. I am.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Justice
Oh,
Anjana Prakash, for coming on HW. Thank you so much.
Stay ahead with our cutting edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.